Hello, beautiful people. How you doing? Good to see you. Hit the like button. Happy Monday. If you could say happy Monday. Why not? Let's say happy Monday. Who's going to stop us? Nobody. Benevolent dictatorship here. Happy Monday. If anything, because it's just about over. Yay. It's good to see y'all. I do hope that you are doing well. Yeah, what a day. Call me Wayne. Good to see you. Thank you, gorgeous. Percy Green. Hello. Good to see you. Alex, Marshall, Luna Lemon 11, Claudia, Jamie up in here early. It's good to see you all. Well, it's been an eventful few days, and we're going to talk about a couple things. Good Lord have mercy. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button, share the live. Shout out to all the members, the subscribers, and the supporters in all the places. You are the executive producers of this channel, and I do appreciate you. So, shout out to the silent looters who don't chat, but you be here, you be watching. Shout out to the replay gang. Sorry we missed you. Look forward to chatting with you in the comments section. If you are here and you are following along with the chat, make sure you change your chat settings from talk chat to live chat so you don't miss anything. And as always, a big, big thank you and shout out to the best mod squad on the internet holding it down. Well, how are you all doing? Let me know. I really want to know. Brandy, good to see you. It was a busy weekend over here, but I got my moments of relaxation and watched a lot of things on the good old streaming services. That was nice, also frustrating. What are you gonna do? Sick and tired of one episode a week, but we get what we can take. Gang gang. Here's our Biscuit Head Brigade for the evening that we are going to chit chat about. It's been a Monday. Yes, child. Every Monday is a Monday. It's so terrible. Unless it's a holiday, it's a Monday. And even when it's a holiday, it's at least a Monday. You know what I mean? I feel like you know what I mean. You know what I mean? A holiday Monday just takes the edge off it being a Monday. It just makes it a Monday. I'm caught up on everything. I'm caught up on Silo, Lioness, Lanterns. I watched Widow's Bay. Remember Passengers? Remember watching Passengers? Remember when all the white people said, "Oh my God, this is the greatest movie to ever movie," and we all watched it like, "Okay, let's see what they talk about." We just kept waiting for the other shoe to drop the whole movie. Wasn't no another shoe. That's how I felt about Widow's Bay. I was like, I get it. I get the attraction to it. I understand why people are reacting the way they're reacting to it, but oh, 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 big kisses and hugs to you. ALS Dub says, looking at this picture, I'm nauseous. Well, beloved, I'm so sorry for you, okay? I'm so sorry for you. If it makes you feel better, Yes, I thought of you ahead of time. I said, what can I bring to people that is an offering? What can I bring to people that is an offering? And we'll get to it, but first we got to talk about the fuckery, okay? We got to talk about the fuckery first, and then we'll get to the goodness. Joshua, thank you, beautiful. Appreciate your support. Mods, if you get those direct links in regular rotation, I'd appreciate you. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you, okay? This is from the behind the scenes. Spider Main was not having it. We gonna talk about it, okay? We gonna talk about it. But we got to talk about the fuckery first. So let's talk about the fuckery first, child. Let's talk about the fuckery first. It was a deleted scene. That's what's going to happen when we finally get the Miles Morales movie. That right there. I want to see it remade frame for frame. When we get Miles Morales, I want to see it remade frame for frame. That seems reasonable to me. Okay, now stop it now. Y'all getting ahead of yourselves now. Now stop it now. Oh my God. Marshall Iron says, it looks like we got ourselves a high school gym teacher, neckbeard influencer, and Timu vampire hunter. Timu vampire hunter is perfect. It's perfect. Timu vampire hunter. Oh my God, that's so fucking funny. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, that's really good. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button. Share the live. That's hand painting happening. High school gym teacher, neckbeard influencer, and Timu vampire hunter. Billy the Vampire Slayer is too funny. I don't even know why it's so funny, but it's very funny. That's very funny. Hi, Princey. Mm, 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 mm. Billy the Vampire Slayer. Damn. Well, let's talk about the gym teacher. Raekwon. I don't even. Palantir. I'm trying to figure out where to start. Palantir posted on social media over the weekend, further exploring their influencer washing that they love to do throughout the year to distract people from the fact that they're absolutely horrible, okay? You don't like being spied on? You don't like flock cameras and such? Okay? You're against children being bombed? You're against the police state. Palantir supports all of those things. They love bombing children. It's their favorite thing. They love helping police and the government spy on the people. It's their favorite thing. They love pushing AI, ripping off other people's work to train AI. Like all the evil Emperor Zorg, Palantir. Okay? So they posted over the weekend. Raekwon paid a visit to Palantir. I can't see. That's not what they said. That's what somebody else said. Hold on, let me get it. That's what somebody said about them. Let me pull it up because I can't see Nathan, babes. That's a throwback right there. I can't see Nathan. Woo! Baby, I'm old. So OK Player posted because Palantir posted how excited they were that Raekwon stopped by their headquarters. Respect to the OGs. Congratulations on your farewell tour. I genuinely don't have anything to say about this other than it happened, okay? Other than it happened, and I feel like it's important to point out. But also because I'm working off of a old, new, old premise. Video forthcoming. Maybe the last scripted video on this channel. The thesis of the piece is, are black men destroying hip hop? I'm going to add this to the evidence pile of yes in the technology and AI section. Kiki says, speaking of flock cameras, why the fuck did I see a flock camera in the Home Depot parking lot? Like literally not on the street or nothing. The damn parking lot? Yes. Home Depot is one of the largest corporations in the United States that partners with Flock to put cameras in their parking lots. Do you feel safer? Does it make you feel safe? Do you feel good and safe and cozy in your community going to Home Depot? No, we can't. I'm sorry, we can't. And I can't unpack the whole thing for you right now because that would require me to pull out a 7-page script and go through all of my data. But Kiki says, can we be more specific and say old black men? This seems to be an elderly, washed up, and uninspired specific issue. It is not, unfortunately, an old, uninspired, washed up issue, okay? We got young, uninspired, and washed up. We got young, inspired, and popular. So, again, video forthcoming. But no, I'm sorry, we can't. We can't. We can't. Are black men ruining hip hop? The answer is yes. Video forthcoming. Anyway, let's not get distracted. Oh, there's plenty of time to talk about them, but that's not what we're talking. That's not the premise of that particular video. I think the female rappers are ruining it. Sexy Red, Lotto, etc., etc. Yeah, I addressed that in the video, and that's not the topic for today. I'm just saying that I'm adding this to my stack of evidence, and maybe I'll add it to the video. And we'll have a reference point when that video comes out. Well, good. I'm glad somebody does. Hello, gorgeous in your gorgeous beard. Down in Dixie says, desired proximity to whiteness comes in many forms. So somebody said something that I want to. Ah, Goldie Vox. Good to see you. Goldie Vox says, I don't understand how they even crossed paths. So there has been public reporting, okay, on Palantir and other such companies PR and media efforts and how they reach out to influencers, artists, movie stars, etc., to get them to collaborate on a favorable piece of content, right, for Palantir. And that can be as easy, as simple as we'll fly you out, right? Or that can be talking about, a topic of talking about surveillance, really, but in a kind of subversive and positive way. There are many different ways in which the company, is the one instigating the contact with people they would otherwise not come in contact to. And Palantir is not the only one. There are things, CPAC does this. APAC does this. All of the folks on the right, their think tank institutions, political organizations, corporations, all do some kind of influencer washing, whether it's actual social media influencers or other people who are famous for some reason. Athletes is another one, right? Free trip to Mount Dune. Hey, you know, Young Fuzz says NBA Young Boy, 21 Savage on the Are Black Men Ruining Hip Hop, etc. show. It's the young ones too. I'm a black man, and yes, we are absolutely ruining hip hop. Salute to you for your accountability. And then the fraudulent venture capitalist dude bought that one of a kind Wu Tang album. So he may have been introduced to that tech franchise bro circle at that point or earlier. It could have been at, again, these behind closed doors think tanks that they have where they invite, again, actors, rappers, influencers, especially if you are considered by them to be perceived as by the public, cool. That's the lens through which they see you. It's not a direct relationship. It's not a direct proximity. It's how do we perceive, the public perceives this person on the cool metric. That's usually when they're bringing in black people. They have other metrics as well. The compassion metric, right? They'll bring in somebody who is perceived by the public to be compassionate. The smart metric, not somebody they perceive to be, but somebody they have assessed the public perceives to be smart, reasonable, measured. All of that is influencer washing to try and cover up the fact that these people and their company are fucking horrible, and they are leading the charge at violating and dismantling the rights of Americans across the country. And there he is, yucking it up. Just be yapping. Good to see you, beautiful. Says, we've been living in the era of the sellout. That's a fair assessment. But there are levels to the influence and the power that men have that women don't. And will I put together a video or address in the video that I'm working on the role of women in the destruction of? Yes, I will. But the focus, and it will make sense then, will be men. I can't adequately defend it here because I haven't published the video. Yeah, they're buying popularity. They're writing checks and people are cashing checks and then confusing that with that company not being harmful. I'm having a deja vu moment in my mind because I know we've had this conversation before about somebody else. I can't remember who. It was probably over a year ago. but I'm getting little pieces and fragments in my mind because I definitely feel like I'm repeating myself with regard to the oversimplification of the situation that the influencer applies to justify their participation in it. They ain't never done nothing to me. They cut me a check. Yes, you coon. They cut you a check. So they could put your coon and ass face all over their murderous ass product. But you don't read the news. And you don't care about other people or the world that you live in. You're on some, well, I got mine nonsense. It very well could have been. I don't know. We've talked about a couple of them here. It very well could have been. Yugfuss says the biggest support for Drake and his anti hip hop lawsuit are black men. The most prominent Trump supporting rappers are us. Then you got the woke rapper to scammer pipeline, cough, killer Mike. Damn. I need to make a mental note of that because I don't think I started this. It's long. I started it like 2 weeks ago and I was doing something else today and I saw it in my editing folder and was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to finish that. And I was listening to it and I was like, well, I don't like the way I sound, so I'm gonna have to re-record it. And re-recording it means it's time to edit the script. Dr. Dre also recently came out in support of AI. I saw that. I saw that. Curtis King was talking about that on his channel. Yes. No, that is the least surprising development in terms of rapper to trash pipeline is him. He's already been in that pocket. He's just now specifically cashing a check to come out and, say explicitly pro things about it. Percy Green says, and with news of Dr. Dre co-signing AI, I can't be surprised at any moves from any artist anymore, young or old. Yeah, yep, that pretty much sums it up. And this was entirely unsurprising because um this is how they operate. So this was entirely unsurprising. They are forever trotting out different people to different communities, to different pockets of viewers on social media so that we will see them associated with something that we have a positive connotation to. And then by proxy, apply that positive connotation to them. So far, they haven't come up with anybody that we like that much for it to actually work in terms of changing people's minds about AI. If you have already made up your mind about AI or these companies, there's no influencer that is going to influence you to change your mind. The only thing that will happen is that you will change your mind about that person. But if you are neutral, you don't have an opinion, and you see that company associated with somebody who you have a positive opinion about, you may very well subconsciously or consciously start to associate that positivity not with the person you already have a parasocial relationship to, but with the company they're standing next to, with the company whose headquarters they're standing in. Mama Ree, good to see you, beautiful. And that could, you know what? Brendy says, I know it's not recent, but that sounds exactly like something Lil Wayne has said. It definitely sounds like something Lil Wayne has said because he has said that about white supremacy. He has said that about the Trump administration. He has said that about racism. Racism ain't got shit to do with him. Racism ain't never impacted him negatively in his life. Not even understanding that racism is the reason why he's a fucking addict. Racism is the reason why he was born into the circumstance that he was born into. Racism is the reason why that boy ain't got no judgment today. Racism is the reason why the red cup is fused to his hand. Racism, the reason why his dread's falling out. I can go on. Kiki says Snoop Dogg almost exclusively releases AI music videos now, but Snoop is extremely expected. He'd piss on his own granny for a check. Sorry, his own granny's grave for a check. Yes, he would. Granny's grave, granny's dog. Yes, he would. Sucker. There is no particular reason why. There is no particular reason why. Their post literally says, Raekwon stopped by our headquarters, always show love to the OGs or something like that, right? So then they, taking our verbiage, smearing that onto their social media as well. Our OGs, that's what they said about him in their post. Gotta respect, I'm paraphrasing, but basically, gotta respect our OGs. And then congratulations to Raekwon and the Wu-Tang Clan on their farewell tour. So this is just influencer grift from somebody who does not give a fuck about black people or the black community. I don't care who you are. I really don't give a shit. And I'm not willing to listen to your horse shit. I didn't know. It don't matter. This, that, or the other. If you are black and you care and you claim to care about black people, you cannot support companies that spy on people. Because that technology is disproportionately used to target black people. Period. I don't care who you are. Those two things are not compatible. They will never be compatible. And anybody coming out after the fact, and as far as I can tell, he hasn't said anything, but he's been called out all over social media because social media was in an uproar over this. It's also unacceptable for you to come out after the fact and say, I didn't know. You didn't know? You took money from a company and you didn't know what it was that they do. And you expect us to believe that, number one, and number two, accept that as an excuse? Now that you know, give the money back. He just stopped by. He was just in the neighborhood. Nobody's just in the neighborhood at Palantir's headquarters. So when people say black people need to get over AI, black people do not need to get over shit. Black people are not a monolith. The impacts of AI are also not monolithic. And this get on board or get left behind and therefore accept all the harms that come with getting on board is horseshit, gaslighting, playing in your face like you're boo-boo the fool. Period. This is the other thing is, again, playing in their faces and talking to us like we're boo-boo the fool. I'd rather people just admit I didn't give a fuck until it started impacting me. I just wanted to cash a check. I was hoping people wouldn't be so upset about it, but damn, people really mad. Yes, damn, people really mad. And if you don't know that ahead of time, you live in an ivory tower of white privilege. as a black person. You might be on the lower floors of the ivory tower, but you in there. You're insulated by something, or you think you're insulated by something, and that these things have no impact on your life. And since they don't, as far as you know, have any material impact on your life, they can't be that bad. Same. And first of all, we weren't even at the starting line when AI started. Black people weren't on the starting line. We weren't consulted about there being an AI arms race that was going to kick off. So, if the race and the rules and the runners were decided without us, don't wag your finger at black people talking about get over it or get left behind. That's insulting to people's intelligence and their lived expertise. Kiki says the city I used to live in is literally protesting a data center being in a suburb, like a cul-de-sac with a data center 100 feet away. It's actually crazy. It's actually crazy. Just B. Yappin says of the black people in the ivory tower, they think they're at the management level. Beloved, I know. Bless their whole hearts. They sure do. They're sure not. Right. They're not trying to burn down the plantation. They want to argue for better working hours. This is pathetic behavior. So, when you see people nudge, nudge, wink, winking, rubbing shoulders with people who are designing products to strip your rights, strip your privacy, and legitimately kill people at home and abroad, they cease to represent hip hop. You can't do both. I can't remember that far back when it comes to Ice Cube. He's kind of unimportant to me. Kiki says, if you're broke, just say that. Start playing Fortnite on Twitch. The kids will love it. It's just really pathetic. And he is literally the mascot of the day. The majority of people that work there don't even know who he is. They don't know who he is. They don't care. They're all on the clock paid actors. Stand there, applaud, shake his hand, ooh and ah, take photos, create the moment, and then let's smear it all over social media. Oh yeah, okay, that does ring a bell. Contract with Black America. Yeah. How'd that go? Surprise security wasn't called on him. Okay. I'm sure they had to remind security several times. A large bearded black man is coming to the office today. Do not treat him like he fits the description. Don't embarrass us. Oh my God, being in the lobby and folks coming up to you to shake your hand talking about, I really loved Run DMC. Oh God, that's a dagger. Oh, I felt that one. Kiki says, start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, and share hip hop stories. Sell cookies. Write a book. Start a lemonade stand. Start an OF. Literally anything but this. Literally, bro, you can sell drugs and we'll be more okay with it. We will be more okay with you selling drugs than you kicking it with these horrible people at Palantir. Get you a strain of wacky tobacco, okay, that you co-own or that you own. The kids will buy it. The kids will buy it. Call it Raekwon Loves the Children. Perfect. And you're marketing your kids to your drugs to kids? Excellent. We would be more okay with that. With a wacky tobacco sativa called Raekwon Loves the Children than we are with you at Palantir, bro. That's not okay. And Jamie said, wow, they wouldn't even give him a seat in a conference room. What did he need to sit down for? He don't understand nothing these people do. What? It's not like Meta where they can bring him into a showroom and, show him the latest iteration of spy glasses to objectify women and children. No. They have nothing like that. They can't show him anything that they're working on. What are they supposed to show him? The spying system that they're helping the Israelis build to fuck off the next election? They can't show him that. Oh God, call me Wayne. I don't know a black person who has not had an experience like this. Call me Wayne says, I worked at a country club and this white guy came up to me trying to relate, saying, I love Jay-Z. I just stared at him and said, okay. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, I don't know a black person who hasn't had some kind of experience like that. Hilarious. I would have voted for Obama a third term. Of course you would have, beloved. Bless your heart. Thank you so much. Here we go. Kiki says, one time I was at Walmart and a white guy came up to me for literally no reason and said, have you seen Hidden Figures? It's a movie. It's really good. Then just walked off. Now, tell me you have no black friends without telling me you have no black friends. There was nobody else in your life that you had to talk to about this movie. You said, I know what I'll do. I'll go to Walmart in the hood. There's black people everywhere. Surely I will be able to find a friendly face with whom I can share my opinion of this black movie. So you like rap music? Living Color Studio says, if they were really for black people, they would buy as much land as possible for the black Americans who are less fortunate. Sure. Kiki says, I almost felt like his therapist told him he had to interact with at least one person a day or something. Who knows? Maybe he was going through like a deprogramming, you know? And yeah, in therapy. And his therapist was like, watch some black movies. You know what I mean? Talk to black people. They're very friendly. Maybe he even has a black therapist to help him, you know? Help his help reverse his little racist mindset. Kiki says, I'm literally not a friendly face. I try to look as unapproachable as possible when in public. So do I. I am the same way. I try to look as unapproachable as possible. It's just crazy to hear you describe yourself that way because I just think you're such a little cutie patootie that if I saw you in public, even if you were mean mugging, I'd be like, that's a cute mean mug. Hmm. I'm just saying. Yeah, I've had white people that I've worked with, white people that I know, complete strangers say crazy shit to me. Crazy, unsolicited. I don't know you, you don't know me. We're just standing in the dairy aisle looking at cheese at the same time. And all of a sudden, you want to talk about Sinners. Sure. Sure, why not? Great movie. Yes, great movie. Mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Not the vacation braids in Jamaica. Uh, uh, uh. I'm telling you, I've gotten different variations of I would have voted for Obama again. Oh yeah, I've gotten all kinds of comments. White people are just, you know, white people are just incredible. And then they have children and they bring their children out in public. You ain't exposed your child to a single black character in a book, on a show, in a movie, because you got your child in the dairy aisle at the grocery store and they are looking at me like I literally came from a different planet. They are looking at me and don't have your baby out here looking at me crazy because I will make every single effort I can to make that baby fall in love with me in 3 minutes or less. That's my job. I'm the first black person to interact with your baby in public. I'm gonna change their life in short order. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. So we have so much intelligence that we don't necessarily need people to do things for us, right? We just need the equity to get it done. White people ain't never heard of no 227. Why you do that to them? Why you do that to them now? They trying to dip their toe into multicultural communication. Talking about Regina King is so yes, yes, yes. I've been watching her since 227. You got them all fucked up. 227 was not in their weekly lesson plan. Why you do that? You gonna give them a complex? They gonna go back to their therapist like, what is 227? I didn't know. I didn't know what to say. Mm, mm, mm. Kiki, I should have robbed him, honestly. You're so precious. Young fuss. White people also don't care about our personal space. I had a white security guard while I was carrying my daughter try to talk to her. I could feel his breath on my neck. That's how close he was. Yes, you do have to remind the whites when it comes to our children. Because before our children are a threat to their very existence, they're the cutest fucking thing white people have ever seen. And white people just make a beeline. Not just white people, but yes, I'm categorizing all non black people as white in this instance. They just make a beeline for our children in public because they're so fucking gorgeous. They're adorable. Their skin is perfect. Their smiles are fucking ridiculous. They're like a drug. Black babies are like a drug. And white people fall right off the fucking wagon for him every single time. And you got to remind them, okay, yes, yes, this is my child. Uh huh. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, I do his hair like that every week. Yes. Yes, it is amazing. Yes, it really is that thick and curly. Yes, his eyes really are that big. Oh, yes, I know. Well, Walmart is the mecca of memorably unfortunate interactions with people. Yeah, I try to look as unfuckable as possible when I go into public. Especially if I'm just like running to the store, or I had to go to the store today after I had gotten ready for work and I was irritated because I was like, I look too cute. I look too cute to go into the grocery store in the hood at 1:30 in the afternoon. Oh, fuck me. I'd never been so happy for 6 feet in between in a line. Never been so happy in my fucking life. Because the way people push up on you when you are checking out in a store is crazy work to me. And I will push back. I've had people come and stand right next to the keypad while they're still swiping my items through. And I'll turn like I'm dumb, right? And you know there's always a rack behind you with stupid shit, right? And so as I'm turning around to look at something stupid, um uh I will just bump that person back into their proper position and then be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And then I turn back around into my proper space. When I am here checking out my groceries, you don't need to be here. You need to be down there at the end of the little conveyor belt where you're just putting on your groceries. You don't need to be right here as I'm checking out. So yeah, I'll play dumb, but you're going to get a hip check from me. Kiki says white women tell their children if you get lost in public, then look for a black woman. I hate that. This happened to me twice while I was not wearing a beanie. I should have kicked those kids. Yeah, don't tell your children to look for a white woman. Okay, tell them to look for somebody in a uniform. Don't tell them to look for a white woman. This is exactly the problem, Afro Butterfly. You can't leave your titties at home or your face card. Well, I mean, I kind of can a little bit, you know. If I haven't gussied myself up, I look considerably less attractive. Okay. Um, but in terms of, leave your titties at home, I I I don't blame them either. I have the nerve to go outside. You know what I mean? It's the least feminist thing I could say right now. I had the nerve to go outside. I don't blame them either. Like, I know it's an inconvenience. I know I'm distracting them. I'm so sorry. How about you punish me by not speaking to me? Can we agree? How about you punish me by ignoring me completely? That would be fantastic. I was thinking about this earlier today. I was actually quite silently infuriated by this reality because there are certainly some people on this platform that spend way too much time thinking about me and then calling other men to talk about me. It's creepy and weird and not a proportional response to literally anything that has happened on the internet. Graduated Thought says, white people used to try and grab my belly and my locks when I was pregnant. My locks were 4 feet long back then, but still, who does that? White people. It's in their DNA. They used to put black people in zoos. So reaching out and trying to touch us is literally in their DNA. It's completely reasonable to them. Would they want to be touched? No, they would not want to be touched. But it is completely reasonable to them to want to reach out and touch us. I had somebody ask if they could smell my hair once. It might have been in a Walmart. It was definitely in a store. It might have been in a Walmart. Somebody asked if they could smell my hair. And I was like, why? And they were like, I'm curious what that smells like. No, no, you cannot smell my hair. Kiki says, is that person on the screen Aubrey Graham's homeless cousin? Well, I mean, before he became an American citizen, he was quite stateless because he's hated in Turkey and they got a bounty on his whole ass head. This is Enes Cantor Freedom, who declared for the WNBA. I did a commentary about it 2 weeks ago. He declared for the WNBA, saying that sometimes he identifies as trans, and since that's the only qualification required to declare for the WNBA, he was declaring it. I said, my for funsies theory about him and Royce White is that what they actually intend to do is sue the WNBA because they some jobless, grifting ass motherfuckers. As of yesterday, lawsuit talk is starting to increase, at least on the internet, amongst the, like Tate brothers crowd of fandom. That crowd, the same people that like the Tate brothers, are the same ones saying Enes Kanter needs to sue the WNBA because they threw him out of the Chicago Skies game over the weekend because he went there dressed like this. And he got into it with Natasha Cloud while she was on the court. There were a couple other exchanges, I would say, from what I saw on the internet between players and him. But Natasha was just like, this man is a fucking biscuit head, and I'm going to unload on him. And she did. He went to that game. He announced several days before that he was going. So it was known that he was going. They let him in. He acted like a jackass the whole time. Oddly enough, there were men in the arena with women's WNBA jerseys on, cheering and applauding him. I'm going to need you to pick your fighter. You cannot buy a ticket to a WNBA game, wear a WNBA jersey, and then stand up and applaud for this man. You don't care about women's sports. Anyway, he went down onto the court, okay, left his seat, walked down courtside, arms out, getting everybody's attention, making a complete fool out of himself, and was ejected from the game. Since we have gone live, he has not been banned from that arena or any other arena that hosts a WNBA game. And he should be. He should be banned for life from ever attending a WNBA game. And I'll raise you one. If the NBA is such an ally to the WNBA, they should also ban him from ever attending an NBA game. Ever. Ever. Because the only thing this man is doing is harassing women. He's harassing actual women at their job. The dildo throwing also resumed over the past couple days. Those people should be banned from WNBA games. They should be banned from NBA games. The WNBA can ban him from everything. They haven't yet. And fuck them for that. Graduated Thought says they should have jumped him. He's just going to do it again. Nia Shireen says, I hate what these people are doing because the WNBA has been doing so well, and this distracts from the hard work those ladies have been doing recently to be this to be the topic of conversation. Right. Because there's a legitimate discussion to be had, but these men are hijacking that too. There's a legitimate discussion to be had, not through media statements in pressers after games or before games or on the sidelines. There's a legitimate behind closed door conversation for the league and its players to have to develop a robust policy to address this issue. And he's hijacking that. The venue can also ban him. The venue has not banned him. The majority of these venues are owned by men, or they're owned by companies that are majority controlled by men. It shouldn't be a question. It shouldn't be a discussion. We're in constant, we're in conversation about the best course of action forward to, you know, come up with how we're going to deal with people. Like, you ban them from coming into somebody's workplace to harass them because they have vaginas. That's what he's doing. He is harassing women because they are women, and he is doing it in their workplace. The women's union needs to come out very forcefully and demand. They don't even have to say his name, and they shouldn't. But they should demand that anyone who comes to a WNBA game to explicitly harass the players while they are at work will be banned. Period. They need to demand that protection, because this objectification of women and women's bodies, and this sense that this entitlement that men have, screaming expletives at women, screaming slurs at women, screaming genderized slurs at women, in their workplace, telling them to show their dick while they're trying to do their job. That is harassment. None of this turn the other cheek. None of this ignore it. None of the game should stop every time. And people should be pointed out. And if there are certain fandoms that are misbehaving more than others, you should have to play games without your fans in the stand. This shit is not a joke. And this so-called progressive, because it's not progressive, it's actually extremely conservative, but people who style themselves as progressives keep acting like there's some moral superiority in ignore it, turn the other cheek, be the bigger person. There is no moral superiority there. The only thing that you are doing is giving people more room to be more abusive because you are not arresting the behavior. And that's what needs to happen. You need to stop that shit in its tracks or it will spiral. Because when people exist in a space of audacity, and that is what he is doing, part of existing in a space of audacity is who gonna check me. And the longer nobody checks them, the more audacious their behavior becomes. Check his ass. And anybody who comes after them, no matter what their gender identity is. Throw a can of tomatoes at him. Yeah, he didn't show up on food bank night. He didn't do that. He didn't show up on food bank night. Shit. Canned goods donation night. You didn't show up on that night. Got your whole ass handed to you. Yeah, that's a failure to protect. And yeah, the union needs to demand that this will not be tolerated. Because the next thing that he's going to do, and you can already hear people saying this, there are already people on social media saying there are trans women in the WNBA and they need to be outed. So that's where this goes next. This goes to the gender purity test. Because of somebody's appearance and what men decide is feminine enough on the exterior. They are literally trying to justify violating women's bodies to satisfy their own curiosity. That is sick, sick, sick behavior. Sick. Because these people are not an expert in a fucking thing. Not biology, not science, not gender, nothing. They look at a woman, shoot a free throw from the logo. Girls can't do that. Gotta be a man. That's all they need. She doesn't shave her armpits. Gotta be a man. She doesn't smile very often. Gotta be a man. Her boobs are kind of small. Gotta be a man. Her arms are kind of big. Gotta be a man. Is that an Adam's apple? Gotta be a man. They're normalizing all of that to get to the point of normalizing violence against women's bodies. So that they can violate women's bodies until they're satisfied that they're women. And he is the convenient tip of the spear for that in the moment. And every day that goes by that they don't shut it down, they just sharpen that tip. for the next attack. That's exactly right. Fascist identification systems are coming back. Let me see if I can find this video that I saw the other day. Because I was like, oh, this is incredible. It was really eye-opening. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I found it. Hold on.
Can you name 5 WNBA players for me? I can name Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. That's all I got.
Olivia Miles, Paige Beckers, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu.
Do you watch the WNBA normally?
Yes.
Are you going to the game tonight?
Yes.
Can you name 5 WNBA players?
No, I cannot. I'm sorry.
Jonquel Jones, Natasha Cloud, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Satu Sabali.
Can you name 5 WNBA players?
I sure can. I can.
Could you name 5 for me?
Sure. Sophie Cunningham. It's always fun when I get Caitlin Clark, Reese, Aja. I'm trying. Excuse me. I said Caitlin Clark. JJ, Brianna Stewart, Ionescu, Olivia Miles, Asia Wilson, Sue Bird.
Probably not. No, I could name Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. That's it.
Sure, we're talking about Sabrina Ionescu. We're talking about Teresa Witherspoon, shout out, Sue Wicks. We're talking about Becky Hammond. These are the greats. These are legends of the Liberty Dynasty. Can you name 5 WNBA players for me? I can name Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. That's all I got.
Olivia Miles, Paige Beckers, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones.
One side can't name 5 WNBA players. Those are the protesters there in their stupid little chromosome t-shirts. And then the other side is like, I got 5 and 5 more. You don't watch the WNBA. You don't give a shit about WNBA players. And you are at a protest outside a WNBA game. For your little white darling, Sophie Cunningham. You look really fucking stupid showing up somewhere to protest, and you don't even know the people who play in the league. But I'm supposed to believe that you care about fairness in women's sports. You don't even know who the fuck these women are. Transports in 5. What are we doing? Sophie Cunningham is their favorite bigot player. I mean, when I saw this video, I was like, this is by, or it was posted on Sportico on TikTok. It's just jaw-dropping.
Can you name 5 WNBA players for me? I can name Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. That's all I got.
Olivia Miles, Paige Beckers, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu.
Do you watch the WNBA normally?
Yes.
Are you going to the game tonight?
Yes.
Can you name 5 WNBA players?
No, I cannot. I'm sorry.
Jonquel Jones.
I have a question. How do you watch some shit regularly and you can't name 5 players? You can't name 5 players? The way this woman answers these questions, she knows she's pathetic.
Do you watch the WNBA normally?
Yes.
Are you going to the game tonight?
Yes.
Can you name 5 WNBA players?
No, I cannot. I'm sorry.
Jonquel Jones.
She's just as pathetic as Enes Cantor. They are in mid-land together. So the WNBA has a problem on its hands, and the WNBA needs to get it together before it seriously spirals out of control. I think that their commissioner is terrible. I think that she's arrogant. And I think that she constantly underestimates audacity. And you can't adequately protect women if you underestimate the audacity of men. You cannot effectively protect women if you underestimate the audacity of men. And everybody who plays or works for the WNBA deserves to be protected in the workplace from harassment, bullying, and intimidation. And that's what he's doing. People who exist in audacity are not like you and me. They don't have shame the same way that we do. They don't experience shame the same way we do. And a lot of people think shame is dead. It's not effective anymore. That is not true. People can and still be shamed. And thinking that it's not effective or it doesn't work, you believe that to your own peril. Because if you believe that and you don't take action based on that belief, you are also empowering their space of audacity. Let history always reflect that you called out the fuckery. Floral Forestry Fairy says, based on nothing, I expect that they're happy that these incidents are bringing virality, views, and therefore money. They care not about the well-being of their athletes. I think the union cares very much. I don't think the league gives a shit. I think that Kathy, whatever her last name is, I can't remember. I think that she is a privileged, detached white woman who is going to try the exact same shit that Mayor Jacob Frey tried in Minneapolis. Just ignore it. Just ignore it and it'll die out. Just ignore it and it'll go away. Just ignore it. He knew it was bullshit when he said it. That's why he had quadruple law enforcement prepared for Jake Lang. But this placing the burden on the impacted people instead of putting the responsibility on the perpetrators, that is the shit that is exhausting. And those are the kinds of social norms and policy changes that people want to see. We are sick and tired of some superficial moral high ground that gets us nothing but harm. We're sick of that. And people simply are not going to take it anymore. Do not lie to people's faces and do not put the burden on them. If ignoring Jake Lang, ignore him and he'll fizzle out. Ignore him and he'll go away. Then why is he back in your city for the second time in less than a year, Mr. Mayor? Is that the fault of the people standing up to defend their city from a racist attack? Or is that the fault of the racist attacker who has decided to target your city? This is a rhetorical fucking question. My segues are fucking killing the game today. Spider-Man whooped Jake Lang's ass. Okay, we got it in real time. We got it in halftime so that you can see all of it. Okay? All of it. I really, honest to God, I might get one of these photos framed because it's genuinely one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I mean, Alex noticed that Jake Lang was carrying a poster. Yes, Jake Lang was in Minneapolis, Minnesota for his I Hate Niggers rally. The sign that he has in the back of the truck says, I love black people, but I hate niggers. So here was the plan, okay, because Jake Lang had a permit for this I hate niggers protest in Minneapolis. So the city knew about it and law enforcement knew about it, and they came up with a multi-agency plan for safety for that day. And a cornerstone of their plan was to make sure that Jake Lang's vehicle was not in the same place as people. Like on the sidewalk. Jake Lang went into Minneapolis with a large white cross, the same kind that they burn on black people's lawns, with a very large sign that he personally carried that said, I love black people, but I hate niggers. Okay, and the people weren't going for it. They just weren't going for it. And at one point in time, Spider-Man, literally Spider-Man, runs up the hood from the street, jumps onto the hood of the car, runs up the windshield, runs onto the top of the truck, look, checks it out, figures out where is that motherfucker exactly? Who's to his left? Who's to his right? What are the objects in between me and Jake Lang? And then he literally launched himself in the air, fist ready to go, punched him in the head 4 times. Spider-Man gets pulled out of the truck. Spider-Man comes back because Spider-Man wants the cross. Spider-Man gets into a tug of war with Jake Lang on the cross. And because Jake Lang is so bent over, at this point in time, Spider-Man is at the back of the truck. He's on the street, but he's got a good grip on the cross. And Jake Lang is leaning, bending over, trying to get a good grip to keep the cross. He's exposed, face area is exposed. People start pelting him with all manner of whatever. Fists, liquids, objects. He realizes he's in trouble. He needs to get into the truck. So you see him, if you watch the full video, you see his little scared ass run into the passenger side of the truck. And then they drive through people. Okay? They drive over a police officer's ankle. They injure some other people and they take off. Nobody is behind them. Nobody is chasing them. But they drive like a bat out of hell. But you know who can see them is the news helicopter overhead. Apparently there was a law enforcement helicopter up there too, but we don't have that footage. There is footage of a news helicopter that followed them into the next county because they crossed county lines and shows them after they have left the scene, still veering onto sidewalks, barreling through crosswalks that have people in them before they are eventually stopped and arrested. He's in jail. He's been in jail ever since. Excuse me. I am waiting for those charging documents with bated breath. Right now, he's being held on suspicion of a bunch of things. No bail. Him and his friends and members of his private security are being held on a number of things, but no formal charges have been decided upon or filed yet. I can't wait until those charging documents come out. Spider-Man was also arrested. Okay? Spider-Man was grabbed by law enforcement. Again, one of the most, this shit. First of all, his shoes, sending me. Okay? When I saw his shoes, I said, he's black. When I saw his shoes, I said, are those? I said, oh, I think he's black. Grabbed the photo from, Watch the Party Die, zoomed in on Spider-Man's shoes. I said, that's a nigga. I said, I think that's because there's no skin. Okay, he is covered. I said, he's got the gloves on when he's hitting him. Like, you get no skin action on Spider-Man. He knew what he was doing when he left the house. That was another indicator to me. I was like, he's black because you can't see not a lick of skin on this man. You can't see not a lick of skin peeking through any aspect of that costume. It was just Spider-Man from head to toe with some red fuck you ups on his feet. Ain't a single crease in them, okay? So there is video. Oh god. There is video where Spider-Man he gets kind of grabbed by police and they're kind of moving him out of the way. And he skedaddles over a barrier. Like the most Spider-Man move, like the way he moves over the barrier. I'm like, bro, is this dude a professional or what? Because he literally goes over the barrier like Spider-Man. And it doesn't even look like he's doing a bit. He looks like he's just trying to get away from the police. Okay. Okay. But Spider-Man decided he wasn't done. He comes back, runs up the truck, throws skippity paps. Okay. And then gets into the tussle over the cross, and then he gets grabbed by police. He was also arrested. Okay. There are some social media posts going around claiming to be him. There is a fundraiser going around claiming to be him. I have not yet seen video of him talking, which is great because you're facing charges right now. I don't know that we should necessarily, I don't know if it would be a good thing to see him giving interviews right now without having counsel at his side. However, Spider-Man should definitely plead not guilty. In the alternative, he should plead self-defense. In a lot of places, okay, in a lot of places, you find sometimes obviously and sometimes buried in self-defense doctrine, morality. That you can actually be found not guilty on the basis of your actions being caused by somebody else's extremely offensive or morally objectionable behavior that is emotionally or physically harmful to you or the people that you witness being exposed to that behavior. So I didn't do the research on Minnesota law, okay? But it was literally the first thing that popped into my head was when I found out that he was arrested. He is a black man. I'm not going to say his name. The first thing I thought was this would be the conversation that I would be having with an attorney is I'm either going not guilty or self-defense. What does the self-defense doctrine allow? If the self-defense doctrine doesn't allow for that kind of a defense, then I'm just going solid not guilty and we'll roll the dice with the grand jury. I'll go to trial. Not guilty. Yes, I did it. No, it's not assault. Yes, that is me in the Spider-Man costume. No, I do not agree that it is a charge of assault. I took action in moral defense of my community. And I would just I'd roll the dice with the jury. But you all know, and I'm serious about what I say, about, what I say. And sometimes I'm hypocritical because human beings are hypocritical. I am absolutely against political violence of any kind. And I've always said, I'm waiting for the day. We're all waiting for the day. I want that day to come through natural causes, okay? Because somebody pew-pewing the president doesn't help anybody. J.D. Vance would just quadruple down on the most extreme things that Donald Trump wanted done out of retribution for somebody killing Donald Trump. So do I want it to happen? Baby, we all want him to die. Let it happen live on national television. Let him stroke out in front of everybody in the middle of a speech. We can all see his eyes roll back into his head, half his face slide down, and then he just falls over as he soils himself again. That's a dignified death. That's the dignified death that he deserves, okay? I'm also a proponent, though, of people need to get popped in the mouth. Because people are playing in people's faces, and I'm just not having it. And Jake Lang, I love black people, but I hate niggers. You are playing in people's faces. And I have been turning this over in my mind for quite some time because I am trying to come up with a solid definition / explainer for the difference between gaslighting and playing in your face. They are similar. Sometimes they overlap, but they are not the same thing. Gaslighting has to do with the gaslighter's perception of themselves, that they are so smart and crafty that they can explain anything away. People who play in your face assume you have no self-respect. They know you're intelligent. They know you know that what they are saying is bullshit. But they do it because they assume that you have no self-respect. You aren't going to call them on their shit. Again, people who exist in audacity. Who gon' check me? People who play in your face assume you don't have any self-respect and that you will just let people talk to you crazy. It doesn't have anything to do with your intelligence or their intelligence, like gaslighting does. Playing in your face is you don't have any fucking self-respect. This is that. I was thinking about, I told you all that I had I almost said a near-death experience, but that's dramatic. I had a moment where I almost came into contact with Alex Jones in Seattle when he came here for many reasons, but one of the reasons why he came here was to harass people on the street. And I do believe a woman threw her coffee on him or something. But anyway, I was like right around the corner. I just barely missed, and it was early in the morning in downtown Seattle. Not a lot of people down there. I'm dressed professionally. I would have stood out to him. Like, I knew when I saw it on the news later that day, because I heard it happen and I didn't know what was going on. And then I saw it on the news and I was like, holy shit, I just dodged that moment. And I thought a lot about what would I have done if Alex Jones and his camera crew had come up to me screaming a bunch of crazy shit about black people and Seattle is dying and all of this rhetoric that's going on about Seattle. Like, what would I have done? Over the weekend, looking at Spider-Man, who we now know is Miles Morales, I was thinking to myself, what would I do if I'm sitting at home one day minding my good goddamn business and I get a phone call from my son, slightly out of breath, but rather upbeat, explaining to me that he just got released from jail because he punched the shit out of Jake Lang dressed as Spider-Man because Jake Lang is rolling through Seattle with a sign that says, I love black people and I hate niggers. That would be a lot for me to unpack. Like, a lot for me to unpack as a parent. Number one, my child dressed up and went out in public. Number two, he got into a physical altercation. These are things that I do not assign, those are things that I don't think about him when I think about those things, but I was thinking, what would my reaction be? My first reaction would be, you need a lawyer. My second reaction would be concern over his safety because shit is public record. My third concern would be facing federal charges. That would be my concern. I would pray to God that the city or the state or the county, whoever local, would charge him with whatever as soon as possible to beat the feds to a potential felony charge of violating Jake Lang's civil rights. I would expect after they charged all of those people that went into the church in Minnesota, and they charged the black media who went in with them, I would assume that the feds would sweep down on this and try and pin up anybody who was a counter protester to Jake Lang. Those would be my major concerns. But my reaction, I think, ultimately would be I would be conflicted. Because the fact that you dressed up means that you knew that he was coming, means that you plan to go down there. And I would prefer it if all my kids stay away from the riffraff, right? That's just your preference as a parent. I would almost feel better if my child were like on his way to work, dressed in his regular, face fully exposed, and a truck walks by, a truck rolls by with Jake Lang on a megaphone, real slow, like just slowly going by with a big old sign. I love black people, but I hate niggers. And he's saying the hard R in there. And then my son just runs up the hood, jumps, and then just beats the shit out of him. I'm like, now that I could understand. That I could completely understand. And I'm in your corner. I'm in your corner regardless. I'm in your corner. We're going to get through this together. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Because I even put myself in Spider-Man's shoes. Like, what would I do if I were downtown? Again, thinking about that Alex Jones situation that I narrowly dodged. What would I do if I were downtown and this jackass of a white supremacist came rolling by me 3 miles an hour on a megaphone screaming hard R? I don't know that I would make rational decisions in that moment. I honestly don't know that I would do that because I talked about this on the other channel, and I posted something on TikTok about how I wrote an article about it, and I posted something on TikTok, and I got a comment saying that Jake Lang isn't terrorizing people. There aren't children hiding under the bed from Jake Lang. This isn't terror. This is terror. Just because you're white and don't get it doesn't mean that this isn't terror. This is somebody coming into the community to try and desensitize whole communities to the mere act of black people being dehumanized. Because the more you dehumanize us, the easier it is to violate our rights, our bodies, our pulse. I don't think I'm going to just let you roll down the street screaming that. And don't let me see like black kids in the vicinity, like little kids. I'm actually probably going to climb up in that truck and then go to jail. I'm going to get harmed by the men in the truck. I'm being perfectly honest with you. If you roll past me 2 miles an hour, screaming nigger, nigger this, nigger, nigger that, in my city, I'm going to defend my city. Period. Yes, gaslighting is thinking they are manipulating you, playing in your face is not actually giving a fuck whether you believe them or not, but then also betting that you ain't gonna do shit about what they're saying. Right? Because when you check people who play in your face, they immediately start to stutter. As soon as you disrupt audacity, it starts to falter. The moment you disrupt it, it starts to falter. It only exists because it's not arrested. It's not called out. It's not clowned. It's not punched in the mouth. The minute you start to do that, it starts to falter. The same thing can be said for those white women protesting outside the arena. Those women don't know shit about the WNBA. They are literally there in a space of audacity, trying to tell people what they can and cannot do with their bodies, who can and cannot play a game, whether or not the league secretly does or doesn't have trans people in it. But the minute you say, name 5 players, stutter, 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 stutter. Some of them, you can see them aware of what is being filmed. You can see them realizing how fucking stupid they look and sound. And I believe this is no truer words spoken. The current administration is playing in motherfuckers' faces. It playing in motherfuckers' faces. You've got the beef cattle farming industry up in arms because Donald Trump is going to import 300,000 metric tons of cheap ass beef from Argentina and Brazil to bring down your grocery prices, assuming everybody eats beef, I guess, and that's your, your biggest ticket item or whatever. They're fucking livid. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't vote in your own interests. I've been voting in your interest since 2012. The Republicans have been fucking up your farm security at least since 2012. A lot longer, but we can stick a pin in it at 2012 and markedly show. Furthermore, Donald Trump did things to hurt you in his first administration, and he didn't hide it from you coming into his second administration. He campaigned and told you, the shit I did that fucked you up my first term, I'm going to do that shit again my second term times a million. His first term, you lost $50 billion in 4 years. Bankruptcies went up by 24%. In his second term, in less than 2 years, unironically, bankruptcies are up 47%, and you've lost more than $200 billion. And he told you he was going to do that if you voted for him. And you voted for him because you cannot have a vagina in the Oval Office unless it's on its knees sucking the dick of the president. Men should not be allowed to vote is basically what I'm saying. You're too emotional. You don't make rational decisions. You shouldn't be allowed to vote. Yeah, I mean, I really, you know, I appreciate a good carne asada, you know? Um, but and I don't know exactly, I mean, I'm sure there is a ripple effect, but I don't know exactly what the effects are. Beef is just in for a rough ride over the next couple of years, because the UK, Europe lost its whole crop to be able to feed cattle. So it cut a crop. It's been cutting crops early to feed cattle to account for droughts every year. And then this year they cut early and then they lost their crop through these droughts. They have no crop to feed cattle. So we've just begun to see devastating impacts on grocery prices and availability of certain meats. Chicken is going to be in there too. Pork is going to be in there too. And I've seen all the major documentaries about climate change and how do we, how will it happen? How will we know when we've reached that tipping point of no return? Like I've seen it. I've heard these statistics. I've seen all of these, things many, many times academically, intellectually. But it hasn't really been until the past few weeks where I have seen UK cattle ranchers explaining the situation that they are in. And they're very straight laced about it. They're like, this is actually, it came a lot faster than anybody could have predicted. And we certainly weren't ready for it. And we don't know what the government is going to do or where they will even get the resources required to keep the harvest alive, so to speak, when it comes to cattle, poultry, and so forth. The amount of feed that they will have to bring into the country in order to keep the industry afloat is into the billions of dollars. And there are a lot of ranchers that just aren't going to survive that. And then on this side of it, I do believe the industry that Donald Trump will make obsolete will be farming and ranching. 24% spike in bankruptcy in his first administration. So far in his second administration, just last year alone, 47% spike. And you've lost $200 billion. And you're on the hook. You're on the hook for millions of dollars because, and I know what this is like, because Donald Trump, when he came into office, cut off funding for things that the Biden administration, or for things that had been approved, let me say this, in the previous budget cycle by Congress, not by the Biden administration, but things that had been approved by Congress for funding, Trump said, we're not paying that. He did it to people who work in conservation. He did it across the board, and he did it to farmers and ranchers as well. Their subsidies, the things that their grants, all of their loans, things that they bet are going to be there, and they start to take business action believing those things will be there, or that when they send in their invoices, they'll get paid back from the government like they always have. And then all of a sudden, the government says, we're not paying that anymore. Well, it was approved by Congress. Well, the president says we're not going to pay it. Well, that's illegal. Well, sue us. You're not going to get the money. Not in any time to make a viable difference for saving your farm. So you can check out the Democrats Suck podcast wherever you get your podcasts and right here on the good old YouTube. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We're trying to quickly get to 500 subscribers on YouTube so it'll free up more, or it'll open up more creator resources for me. Apparently, I can't have anything nice until I have 500 subs. Oh, this is an interesting take. First name, last name, 4427 says Byron Donalds is going to lose Florida. Those racists will vote for the Democrat before they vote in that black man, no matter how much he tap dances. You think so, huh? You think isn't the Democratic candidate for Florida governor, isn't that David Jolly? I am trying to remember where I had the occasion to actually work with David Jolly, which I have, but I can't remember what it was. For the fucking life of me, I cannot remember what it was. I actually do think that Byron Donalds stands a solid chance of winning the governorship in Florida. Yeah, I definitely think that it is a distinct possibility that that is going to happen. For sure, for sure. We'll see. You can buy beans and lentils in cans on the low. You can. You can also, I'm lucky. I live in, you know, a place that has a lot of immigrants and has a lot of immigrant owned grocery stores. So, I can still go down the street to a corner store where they literally, have the weigher and they just put a bag on there and they start scooping out. There's no pretty packaging. We got a tub of lentils. How much you want? It's such and such, many cents a pound. How many do you want? Yeah, exactly. Dried beans by the bag. You can get anything dried from, you know, the Asian grocery store, the Utrian grocery store. Yeah. Yeah, that's the spot in the cut. That is the spot in the cut. I had beans for lunch today. I was thinking about this as the past couple days that I've been making food. I've been like you know, now mind you, I love a good steak salad, right? But I also love, I guess, what they consider to be poor man's food, right? Like there are just some staples like grits, porridge, um, beans. Like I had melt in your mouth, delicious semi refried beans for lunch today. And I just, of course, I'm a salsa addict, so I just piled a bunch of salsa on top and stuck them in the oven, heated them up, and they were filling, delicious. Had some chips on the side, nice little cold drink, and I was like, "Well, that was great. I'm still full." And I have a second serving, so that might be what I have for dinner too. We'll see. Grits are magical and you can do so much with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a savory grits girl, but you can do so much with a savory grit. I like to put cheese in my grits. And I like, one of my main favorite things that I love to make is I make potbelly, chili, Brussels sprouts on the side, and then grits. You put the grits on the bottom, pork belly chili on one side on the top, Brussels sprouts on the other side on the top. It's so fucking good. It's so good. Curry. That's another thing that I love to do with grits is curry. Oh, mm, a nice creamy curry with a really good spicy, excuse me, creamy grit with a real spicy curry. Perfect combo. Perfect combo. Nom, 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 nom. Yeah, see? See? The King. Hi, King Link. King Link says, and now I'm hungry. Dang, my stomach is definitely like, somebody say Domino's? Calm down. Calm down. Yes. Yes. Oh, and don't get me started. Don't get me started. 'Cause this is when my whole internal fat girl comes out. Shrimp and grits? Baby, my whole internal fat girl comes out, okay? Yes, I need some cornbread. I'm gonna need a little bit of mac and cheese on the side. We got some greens. I'm gonna need some greens as well. And then who got the 7-Up pound cake after the fact? Shrimp and grits is mm, mm, mm. There is a place not far from me that makes it um makes the steeps the shrimp in oxtail drippings. Crack. Crack. Crackety crackety crack crack crack. It's the greatest thing ever. It is the greatest thing ever. One of my favorite things about putting meat, any kind of meat thing on top of grits is when the oil, that little ring of oil just goes around the outside edge of the grits. I'm like, "Oh, it's so beautiful." Ah, I love it so much. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is facts. Oh, this is facts. If you do it right, you can have beans seven different ways every night of the week. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes, you can. Yeah, this was the other thing is it's the end of the month. That's when it's time to grab things and figure out what you're doing with them. And that's exactly what my lunch was. I was like, okay, I've got these beans. Great. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even think I used a full single serving. I think I have a serving and a half left of beans. I think I just took, I have to think about it. Yeah, I do. I just took a big scoop and shoved it in the in the oven basically with some salsa on it. So yeah, that sounds delicious. I think that is what I'm going to have for din dins tonight. Smothered cabbage is delicious. I had a lunch meeting at a spot not far away from here. I have questions. They had a beef garlic cabbage smothered kind of dish with a side of rice. And it smelled amazing and was gorgeous. Like when they set it down, I was like, this is going to be incredible. I started with the rice and, the garlic rice and the cabbage. And oh, delicious, delicious, delicious. I took a piece of beef, kind of broke it open, set it aside because everything's steaming hot, so I needed to cool down a little bit before I eat it. So I'm kind of grubbing on the rice and the cabbage with the gravy. And then I go for the piece of beef and I stick it in my mouth. And I swear to God, the way my head snapped towards the kitchen, because I would have stood up in a court of law and sworn on a stack of Bibles that it was venison and not beef. And I've never had beef that tasted like venison before. But instead, I was like, I'm going to remain quiet. I don't want to panic the people. I don't want to panic the people in the restaurant. I chewed it. I swallowed it. I was like, okay, that tastes like venison. Let me try another piece. Took another piece. I was like, this tastes like venison. Or ate a third piece, and I was like, I would swear in court that this is venison and not beef. And then I was like, okay, all right. Took my leftovers home, tried it the next day. I was like, this is venison. And now I can never eat at your place because I don't trust that your ingredients are what you say they are. And how are you substituting venison for beef? Dude, you're supposed to buy me dinner. Yeah, I was like, I can't, if you would have just advertised it as venison. Because the one thing I did say was, can I see the menu again? Because I thought to myself, maybe there's a meat selection. You know how it'll show you, like, you can get this with beef or you can get this and this and this. So I was like, let me look and see. No, it was like, it was a beef dish. So I was like, okay, this is venison. This is venison. It tastes fine. I can never eat here again because they could have also sworn on a stack of Bible in a court of law, this is beef. And I would have been like, it's not. It's not, but go off. And this is why I was so confused eating the food because I was like, why, what would the rationale be for substituting venison, which would be, one would think, for beef? Isn't venison more expensive? Also, yes, would definitely prefer, lamb. I'd prefer bison to venison. I still would have been able to clock it. But yeah, I would definitely prefer bison to venison. But I was like, that's what it tastes like. So either this meat is in some way, shape, or form not good, and the only indicator to me is coming through this gamey taste that I've literally never tasted in beef before. And I've had beef all over the world. So I was like, I don't understand what's going on. But I can't eat this food again. Okay. Floral Forestry Fairy says, no, venison only costs the processing fee if you hunt it. You're not helping, okay? You are not helping. And also, what processing fee if you're processing it yourself in the back of the restaurant? Jamie says, I had to Google it. They had you eating young Bambi. Now listen, beloved, okay? Them Disney stories got y'all fucked up, okay? I am an indigenous and black woman. I will eat Bambi. I'll eat Bambi's mama. Okay, if that's what it takes, and if we've done a proper exchange, okay, if it's a proper exchange of sustenance. I'm not eating Bambi. I'm not killing Bambi. I'm not killing Bambi's mom for sport. That's not what they exist for either, okay? But if I gotta eat and Bambi run by and I got buckshot, Bambi getting the buckshot. I hate to break your heart. I'm so sorry. It didn't smell like that and it didn't taste like that. Like it didn't taste like old beef. And it definitely didn't taste like meat that had soured. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an explanation. I didn't want to ask because I was like, well, I definitely don't trust them to tell me the truth. And I'm just not going to eat here again. That's pretty much what it came down to for me in my mind, is either there is something wrong with this meat or this meat is not the meat that they say it is. Either way, it was my very first time at this place. It was picked by the person who I was having a meeting with. And I was like, oh, I looked at it online and was like, oh, that looks delicious. And I looked at that very thing on the menu and was like, I know exactly what I'm going to get. Because like Kiki said, I loves me a good beef stew. Okay, I loves me a good pot roast. Yes. So I saw that on the menu and I was like, ooh, I'm about to get satisfied 6 different ways here. Okay, I'm gonna be very, very happy. I was not satisfied at all. It left me wanting just a beef stew from a pub. I did not get that like satisfaction of eating beef psychologically either. So that was another reason why I was like, I don't really think this is beef, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna file this away in my head, and I will not be surprised if 6 months from now I see some, news, some story on the local news about public health authorities have discovered that a local, ex cuisine restaurant has been serving venison to its customers instead of beef. I would not be surprised if that winds up happening. But I was like, again, I won't even say what kind of restaurant it was because it's a very specific kind of cuisine tied to a very specific group of people. I won't even say what that was because I ain't no snitch. Okay. I ain't no snitch. I ain't snitching on nobody. Okay. And what it is they doing in their kitchen. All I'm saying is it ain't for me. That's all I'm saying. That's why it's called buckshot. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, there's no way that y'all gonna just tell me it's beef and it's venison. There's no way. And venison is such a distinct, you can only do so much, even farm raised venison that isn't so gamey. You can only do so much to cover the taste of venison. Just like you can only do so much to cover the taste of bison. So I was like, oh, I'm not new to this. I'm not new to this. There might be some people who are like, oh, it's the type of cuisine that makes the meat taste this way. Nope, that's not what's happening. No, the meat came tasting that way because that's not beef. So, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. And I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble. I just am not going to eat there anymore because I really was looking forward to that being like a beef dish. And I never got that itch scratched. So bison to me, I mean, it depends on where you get it. It depends on a lot of factors. To me, bison is less gamey than venison. To me. Yeah, to me, bison slaps. I love bison. I think it's delicious. Yeah, it's really, really good. Really good. If you ever are in the Washington D.C. area, you go to the Museum of the American Indian at the Smithsonian, go to their cafeteria. Get you some pulled bison or a bison burger. That fucking cafeteria up in there don't play. Does not play. Yeah, less gamey, very lean. Very, very lean. But I think it's delicious. My dad made a mean bison burger. God rest his life. Yeah, my dad made a mean bison burger. It was something I look forward to every year. Every single year. It's funny because I saw a cattle rancher, again, I did an episode of the TDS pod talking about men shouldn't have the right to vote. But at any rate, a lot of that was spurred on by ranchers and farmers who are taking to social media, very upset. Some of them are taking to social media to start TikTok shops to directly sell their beef to consumer. But anyway, a lot of them are getting on social media and just ranting about how Trump has fucked them over. No shit. We all knew that. You knew that too, but you voted for him anyway. I saw a guy standing with, part of his herd of cattle, and he was saying, where there's the cattle, there's freedom. This here represents freedom. And I thought to myself, and that's why you killed the buffalo. I thought, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Those animals represent your freedom. And that's why you killed the buffalo. Isn't it ironic? Just sometimes I just think these white men can't hear themselves when they talk. Farmers and ranchers are not stupid people. That's the thing that I think is so disheartening about this entire situation is by necessity they are some of the most policy savvy um, people in a given industry by sheer necessity of existence. And so for them to consistently vote against their own interests and then find out what the repercussions of that are and then be mad at everybody else. I don't know what the fuck to tell you because I've been voting for lawmakers that would protect your interests ever since I could vote. Why? Because I've been voting for food, for people to have access to food. And the major way that the government makes sure that people have access to food in our local communities is through farmers. I've worked on the farm bill, the federal farm bill, I don't know how many fucking times. And they have slashed and burnt it for 14 years. But farmers and ranchers keep voting for Republicans. Now they want to explain to people why they are a necessity like we didn't know. We knew. We knew you were a necessity. We knew that he would fuck you. We knew that it would hurt kids. We knew that it would hurt communities. We knew. We voted against that. You voted for it. Now you ain't got a fucking farm and your house is being foreclosed on. A house that you grew up in. A house that your grandparents lived in. On a farm your great grandparents started. But you want to cry on social media about beef coming in from Argentina and Brazil? I feel no sadness for you because you chose stupid. You chose a penis because a vagina can't be in the White House because they vote with their emotions. You mean like all the times they voted for children to have food that comes from your farms that the government pays for? Those emotions? Huh. The irony. Not you giving me weekend plans. Now I gotta go. Listen, I'm telling you, I mean, I haven't been there in a very long time, but I swear by. I've talked to people that have been since I have been because I've told so many people to go. The fry bread slaps. Literally, I went with a friend of mine and we were just like, you order this, I'll order this. We'll just cut everything up and share it when we get back to the table. And that's what we did. And what's crazy was we were like, okay, we're going to go through these sections of the museum. We'll stop, we'll have lunch, and then we'll pick back up and we'll go through these other parts of the museum. Child, when lunch was over, we were like, call the car. We are done. we need we need a taxi back to the train. We were living in Baltimore at the time. It was like, yeah, man, we need a car back to the train. We're going home. Ain't no way we can continue to walk around this damn museum after eating all this damn food. There's just no way. And that's exactly what we did. We took our black asses back home because the itis was very, very real. It was delicious. It was one of the best indigenous meals I've ever had outside of powwow food. Straight up. So yeah, I encourage everybody to go check it out. Kiki, you ain't got no questions for us before we end? If you do, Now's the time. Just a reminder to folks that not this Friday, but next Friday, Quality will be here live for conversations for the culture, potentially the last conversations for the culture. Um, I don't know. I'd love to have Kiki back if Kiki would be willing to come back. Yep, next week, next Friday. I'm trying to get a couple things done before the end of October. That it just looks like the channel is starting to reach its, you know, natural resting place. So hopefully we get to my birthday. Bentino say it's sad to see as someone whose home is literally surrounded by farm fields. Oh, don't worry, there will be an AI data center that fill it up in no time. I joke. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You can mark there's already a placeholder live. She can go over there and turn on notifications to remind you. I will be reminding you in between now and next Friday that Quality will be here for a live conversations for the culture. And it should be interesting, don't you think? I think so. I think it'll be pretty interesting indeed, given everything that has happened recently. Quality seems to be one of the very few men on this platform who knows how to schedule a conversation, like on a calendar, like adults do. So that's refreshing. Glad to see some things still exist in the world. Yeah, well, not everything lasts forever. Some things end sooner than we anticipate. Okay, well, I think Kiki has gone, so we don't have any question from Kiki to finish us off tonight. I think the final thing that I would say about this whole white people not voting in their own interests, I kind of had this light bulb moment watching these various ranchers and farmers have their meltdowns on social media. A lot of white people have been convinced that the policies of this country have been applied to disproportionately help non-white people. When the reality is that policy is policy. And they really thought that if they elected Donald Trump, that they would finally have a president who would do for the whites, right, what has been done for the blacks. And then they got a white president, and that didn't happen for them in any capacity. In any capacity. White people really thought, period, period. That's the end of the statement. White people really thought, and they really continue to fuck around and find out. But I don't think that they have yet to have the light bulb moment of realizing the full consequence of what it means to have been lied to by your government. I don't think they've come to that realization point yet. Because when they do, they'll stop blaming black people and immigrants for all their problems because they'll realize that the lies are all connected. They all work in tandem together. Right now, they're just like angry and mystified that they're getting fucked over by the government worse than they were before. But they have yet to have a light bulb moment of it's all been a lie. And you've been a hypocrite. You can't be a farmer that takes subsidies from the United States government and say you're anti-socialist because your products support socialism. This whole situation remains one that white people have still yet to figure out. White people still have not figured it out. And everybody else is suffering because white people still haven't put the pieces together. But anyway, I'm just talking. I hope you all have a wonderful night. It was good to hang out with you. Good to chit chat with you about these men and their meltdowns. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you all very soon. Peace.